House rules. Each speaker has 5 minutes. The first and last minutes are protected. The judge will ring a bell to signal the protected time. The bell will ring continuously after 5 minutes.
Hello everyone, my name is Musime Hannah, along with Kabanekera Grace, Namanya Grace Natalie, and Ntare Shanita, and we are the Bweranyangi debate team. We are affirming the resolution. This house believes that low development countries should prioritize sustainable farming practices over intensive farming methods.
Good afternoon everyone, this is Ntare school team, and I'm Tugumisi Jeremiah, who will be doing first speech for Ntare. This is Ariho Rino Jeremiah will be doing first speech for Ntare. This is Ntare Isaac Atujuna doing second speech for Ntare, and this is Elinatwe Hamlet Collins doing third speech for Ntare. So our opponents in the next debate shall be Bweranyangi Girls Secondary School, and the resolution shall be: this house believes that low developed countries should prioritize sustainable agricultural practices over intensive farming methods.
So in today's resolution, having told you that we are affirming, we expect to teach people how Uganda can do away with intensive farming and actually prioritize sustainable development. And then we really expect to win this debate because we have contextualized everything and we believe we are ready enough.
So, panel of judges, this house believes that low-developed countries should prioritize sustainable agricultural practices over intensive farming methods. We are looking at a low-developed country like Uganda. Now, let me paint for you what a low-developed country looks like, specifically a country like Uganda. It has weak economic growth, it has high malnutrition rates, it has land fragmentation, it has high unemployment, it has high levels of illiteracy, it has food insecurity, it has lack of productive capacity, and this is a capitalistic society. Everyone wants individual development. You do not bring up something that does not involve the development of everyone. This is what a low-developed country looks like. Now, let me show you what sustainable agricultural practices are in the first place. Now, these are agricultural practices that basically based on nature. Practices like crop rotation, use of organic fertilizers, paddocking, mulching. If you're to realize all these basically based on nature. Therefore, we are not going to have to put in high amounts of money because the natural environment is actually providing for us. Now, a low-developed country is a country that actually depends on its environment very much. Therefore, anything that puts its environment at risk risks the whole country. Therefore, it puts it at stake. Now, the sustainable agricultural practices that we are going to prioritize in tonight's debate are also environmental friendly. What of the intensive agricultural practices? What are they? Now, these are practices that actually need high money input, but we are looking at a low-developed country that has weak economic growth. It has a weak economy. You want to put in farming practices that actually need high money input. Now, that is why we do not prioritize intensive farming methods. They need high chemical input. Yet we told you very well that a low-developed country basically relies on its environment, and we realize that chemicals are actually not environmentally friendly. Therefore, this is going to affect our environment very much. Now, we aim at finding a balance that preserves our ecosystem while ensuring food security. Intensive farming methods bring short-term benefits, while sustainable agricultural practices bring long-term benefits. So in tonight's debate, we are having long-term versus short-term. We are telling you that today, sustainable agricultural practices, why are they called sustainable? Because they are going to lead to sustainable development of our country. Therefore, we want the long-term effect. It makes no sense for our country to produce 200 tons of maize for the 2 seasons, and then after that it starts producing 2 tons. It makes no sense. It rather makes sense if we produce 10 tons of maize annually for today, tomorrow, and the future generations. That makes more sense. Therefore, it's long-term benefits. And we are looking at the sustainability of the development. We have told you that ours is sustainable. Now, we are looking at the affordability of the farming method that they are putting in place. We are looking at the fact that a low-developed country has a weak economic growth. Therefore, the money that a country has is not enough for it. It's actually, most of the time, they're actually suffering debt burdens. But now they want to bring in intensive farming practices that need high input of money. We are looking forward to we are looking at low-developed countries that have weak economies. Therefore, sustainable agriculture practices that are cheaper would be better if they were prioritized. We are looking at the fact that, according to the National Environment Management Authority, 22nd June 2023, the recent flooding of the River Katonga is attributed to the rice plantation in Rela catchment area, which means that they are using intensive farming methods. For example, they are growing their rice in a swamp. This means that they have destroyed the catchment area in Rela. Therefore, they have led to the flooding of River Katonga.
Resolve. This House believes that low-developed countries should prioritize sustainable agriculture practices over intensive farming methods. Team Affirmative presents with us a certain case of ideas and characterizes low-developed countries as having different problems like the weak economy, high levels of illiteracy, famine, weak economic growth, and etc. So this gives us a major sign point as the team instigators, as identifying our main problem and therefore our main cause of the entire resolution and why we're debating here today. It's trying to solve the main problem of a low-developed country, and that is to achieve economic stability. And therefore, sustainable agriculture cannot be fronted as an idea to achieve this goal. They come telling us about different ideas, for example, sustainable agriculture practices, yet they do not even clarify on different methods which are involved in this practice. Let me inform you on this. There are different methods like crop rotation, permaculture, agroforestry, the use of organic matter, and cover cropping, and many more. But when we realize the current status quo of Uganda, for example, we realize that this has actually been happening for many years now. These are the methods we've been using, and why do we see agriculture sector today? We leave it with only contributing 24% to our annual GDP, and this is very low compared to what we actually need from a country like Uganda. Uganda being one of the 33 LDCs in Africa, we understand that it has to look for better methods in the agriculture sector to actually achieve our main goal of increasing productivity and eradicating poverty. So one, team instigators actually come here with intensive farming methods, whereby we want to actually invest in high levels of labor, invest in highly mechanized farming, and actually putting a lot of labor in a small piece of land or per unit area. So with this in mind, we are guaranteed with higher productivity because one, we realize that when we invest knowingly, we're actually investing more capital. We're investing more machines, knowing that these are things that are guaranteed. The use of artificial fertilizers, which have been researched by different organizations like Ntare in Uganda, and actually have given us the specifications of their use in Uganda. And we have actually realized that we can actually double our yield and actually increase productivity. So what do we as Team Affirmatives like to create for status quo for you today? Uganda, for example, has been characterized to have a hunger index of 25.2, and this is considered grave. We have to understand the current status quo of the population, or the major stakeholders of the general population, is very important. The average farmer only having 2.5 hectares of land is going to look at only having sustainable agriculture and actually feed his family. We need something that's going to actually be called sustainable. Is that if we want to invest more and actually produce more and ensure high yields despite what is going on. So we as team instigators, when we look at the average farmer who can actually invest, who can actually have the knowledge of, for example, the artificial fertilizers like NPK and DAP, which have been approved by Ntare. So with this in mind, we are assured of one, the increased productivity that these guys that the Team Affirmatives do not want to actually front. They are not actually fronting a method that's viable for improving the economy. They just look at saving the environment, which is not actually the problem of today's debate. The main problem of an LDC is to achieve economic stability, and therefore their solutions do not have a causal link between one, the sustainable agriculture practices, and also the economy. We on the other hand have intensive farming methods which are guaranteed of producing more profits. For example, we knowing that the Ugandans actually have to get a living on subsistence, and we knowing that the subsistence farmers actually out there only getting a small portion of the income. And knowing this, we as team negatives actually have a better plan of achieving the main goal of today's debate. they come and describe to us the need for nature, and this is something that is completely irrelevant in an LDC. We're looking at economic shock. For example, Uganda having 30% of the population living below $1. With this in mind, we have to understand that Uganda is not looking at nature, but rather looking at economic development.
This is the High School Crossfire. We'll be back in a minute.